let's talk about spray foam. So, spray foam is a pretty controversial insulator product for homes and vans. And from a fundamental perspective of energy and insulation, there's no other material that has as high of an R value, which is a term to Google and read about, per square inch or square centimeter if you're on the metric system, as spray foam. So if you truly want a 4-season vehicle that is efficient to heat in the winter and cool in the summer, spray foam is the insulation material you're going to want to use. It's not less work than other insulation materials in my experience. And you're seeing that now as we spend an hour or two masking everything we don't want the spray foam to get on before we start spray foaming, which with a 200 board foot container takes about 20 minutes, or containers. The other thing I will note is the type of insulation I used in this was closed cell spray foam. Now that we're done masking, it's time to make sure that the two tanks are perfectly warmed to 75 degrees Fahrenheit. Put the centigrade value for that in the comments below. Then we check our masking one last time. And we look at the headliner, which we're gonna spray foam. And it's a bit of a risk, but we've put conduits in with pull strings and run all the electrical we think we need. So that should be future-proofed well. Next, we check our temperature, which needs 65 Fahrenheit at a minimum.
Spray down our van, hot water, warm it up.
This hot water is heated to 120 degrees Fahrenheit from the hot water heater, and it heats the van 25 times more effectively as a liquid than the gas of the cool air.
The other benefit of the warm water spray is we've done a final leak check on both the AC unit and the max air fan. Not seeing any water coming in. Temperature is reading low of 59, high of 63.8, so we're gonna go for it. And this one's at 62.
Okay, so this is a bit more of do as I say, not as I do. Very important to spray at the right temperature. It's not risking such an expensive liquid not turning into a solid correctly. So, for me, it worked out, but for you, make sure you do this when the timing's right and the air temperature is correct. You don't want it too hot, too cold. Just read the directions and apply the foam as the directions state. The other thing that's incredibly important is that you wear proper protective equipment. Now, in this case, you can see the sprayer is wearing a full-on face mask, respirator, boots, gloves, and starting with the roof in the first spray. One thing I noticed when I was spraying was that while the foam stuck to the roof, it didn't stick to the roof evenly, and it didn't get very thick very quickly. So it's not going to form this like elegant extrusion like the foam board you buy at Home Depot does. It's got its own wave patterns, and it matches the concavities of the ceiling. The other thing I found that as I moved into the walls is that these tanks were getting a lot lighter. So this 200 board foot of spray I bought is probably not going to make it through this first application. Another thing I didn't do was use Vaseline to coat the whole spray gun and then both layers of gloves, and I wore 2 layers of gloves on this one. That's something you should definitely do. Vaseline's about the only material this foam won't stick to, so just plan on and you don't want the gun to bind up with the foam. So I'm spraying pretty diligently, but also leaving room for expansion as the chemical reaction happens between these 2 particles. The other thing to note, I mean, there's a lot here, but it's not rocket science, is breathability. So you want to be moving air out of the area you're spraying in and have fresh air come in. There needs to be some level of circulation that's allowing these VOCs that are building up as a result of the chemical reaction to move out into the atmosphere and out of the air chamber you're in. Okay, so I have a layer of foam over the ceiling. I'm working my way down into the walls where I'm going to spray, and this is my next segment. And as I spray it, you'll see the foam start to go from a solid to a dripping liquid. See that? As soon as that happens, stop spraying immediately. It's very important to stop spraying immediately because one of the tanks is empty, and the other thing is you need to shake your tanks and roll your tanks before you start so that they're as well agitated as you can, and that will keep this balance better. But all that liquid is gonna stay liquid. It's gonna stay a very oily, sticky liquid, and it's water soluble. You'll be able to clean it up with soap and water, and it's not going to be a fun job. So the best way to avoid this is to stop spraying as soon as you notice the output from the sprayer becoming a liquid instead of a solid. So we can see from our sound test that the spray foam muffles the sound better than anything. The stock sound dampening butyl tape, the Amazon butyl tape, the Klein butyl tape, and definitely the untreated panels or the floor. In any case, that's all I got for you today. Thanks for watching. We'll see you around.